public school system here in the United States, together with the opportunity to study the public education system in Brazil, has lit my internal flame to provide underprivileged students education opportunities and guidance. Seeing the variation in education opportunity from city to city, both here in the US and in Brazil, has made me realize that teaching students to read and understand math and science is life-changing. But after graduating from college, traveling to underprivileged areas, and serving with City Year, I realized that education is much more than math, reading, and science. It's also about teaching humanity positive values and providing a better future for our next generations. I hope that eventually I would be able to help students realize that success is attainable and that prosperity is within their reach. And at the same time, I had to assist them in recognizing that there would be sacrifice and struggle before making it to where they want to be. But little did I know that many of my students already knew a thing or two about struggle and sacrifice. You will actually meet two of them tonight. Faraja, age 14, and Zawadi, age 12, are two siblings, a brother and a sister, respectively, who escaped gun violence in their home country of the Congo. Their family relocated to Tanzania and refugee camps where Faraja grew up and where Zawadi was born. During their first few weeks here in the United States, which was only 6 months ago, all we could understand from each other was the universal gesture of a smile. Their native language of Swahili was not one of my own, or anyone else on the school for that matter. Faraj and Zawadi never experienced life like here in the United States, with paved streets, buildings, and schools. The only schooling any of the two siblings received was when Faraja went to school in the Congo for 2 years. Education was a privilege back at home, and for most of the day, Faraj and Zawadi worked on crops to get paid in food. Zawadi never got the opportunity to learn her ABCs until this year. There was a sense of urgency to get Faraja and Zawadi on track. Most of us could never imagine how normal parts of a school day could be challenges for some students. Breakfast and lunch during the school day, school bells, moving around to 7 different classrooms. These were things that these students never experienced. They cannot understand why all of these children were at the same place at the same time, week after week. Well, getting used to all of these new elements was not easy at first. At home, understanding that there's a bedtime and that they had to wake up the next morning was something they had to get used to. This made it hard for them to stay awake in class. Due to the immense societal changes and exposure to new foods, like today they're actually trying new foods, and the fact that they never lived in the chaos of a developed city led them to have trouble focusing in class. Getting to school on time was also difficult. Either they arrived very early and ended up tired by noon, or arrived late, sometimes hours after the first bell. Zawadi would walk out of class. She refused to do her work, she would take part in horseplay, and rarely returned in her homework. But every day was a new day to give an opportunity for these siblings, to help them in the needed areas. And at first, tutoring was mainly focused on redirecting their high energy levels, and at times it meant bringing them up from a low point in their day. And it was hard to balance an approach and understand really what was going on in their heads. Through behavior initiatives and activities tailored to their behavior needs, I started to see small changes. Both Faraja and Zawadi loved walking around school to practice English, and walking was a great way to get them focused. In our English acquisition class, we worked on pronunciation, comprehension, and vocabulary to get them closer to reading and speaking. Before then, when they couldn't really understand anything, there was little I could do to make them understand that I'm trying to teach them a language. As soon as Faraj and Zawadi started to grasp tutoring, pronouncing their first words, understanding phrases, and associating their vocab words, they became different students altogether. Every day, their changes in behavior and ability to communicate would improve, and in class, you would see them alert and doing all of their classwork within their level. Faraja told me that he was finally feeling like he was part of the school and of his group of friends. The way both of them participated in whole class work and how they interacted with their classmates made me proud. Their reading levels, which were previously non-existent, started to increase. Not only were their reading levels improving, but many teachers, staff, City AmeriCorps members, and students noticed their transformation in behavior and in attitude. Their confidence skyrocketed. And as I walked around campus, I would see students giving them high fives and dabbing back to their friends. Wait, I did it wrong. They taught me. And being late to school was no longer an issue for them. For the past 2 months, I've been seeing Zawadi coming to school early and saying, "Good morning, Mr. Enrique," and soon enough, "Mr. Enrique, can I go get water?" or "When is lunch?" Their behavior, as well as their motivation to learn, continues to improve. They are well on their way of becoming fully adapted in our society, into the Orange County Public School system and beyond for the rest of their lives. This experience in helping Faraja and Zawadi has significantly impacted my life. I realize that there are millions of students in Faraja's and Zawadi's situation around here in the US, as well as other children that are in more stable situations but also need the mentoring and the guidance. CAER is helping so many of these students from across the state, across the country, and children from all over the world to #MakeBetterHappen. I'm extremely grateful to be able to help these students and this family make a transition of a lifetime into a new country, and to be able to help 2 spectacular children start their lives in the US on the right step. And together, all of us here, we can help many more students walk in their moccasins down the path towards prosperity. And now, I would like to welcome Faraja and Zawadi up on stage with me to share some words.
Jina langu naitwa Faraja Benjamin, natoka Afrika, Tanzania. Naipenda shule yangu na furaha sana kwa kuwa shule yangu ni mzuri. Asante sana. My name is Faraj. I'm from Africa. I'm love my school. I'm very happy to have my education. I thank God every day for my good life. Thank you so much.